Now, the second speaker, I welcome Dr. Soundarya, who is MBBS from Kanyakumari, MS from Stanley, and MCH from Madras Medical College. Being both husband and wife urologist, I am fortunate that she is concentrating on female urology, particularly urethral stenosis, buccal mucosal erythroplasty, and urodynamic study and stress incontinence. Over to Soundarya, please.
Very good afternoon, one and all present here. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Chandramohan sir for giving me this opportunity. I am going to brief you on stress urinary incontinence and its management. It is defined as the involuntary loss of urine with physical exertion like sneezing, coughing, or other activities that raise the intra-abdominal pressure. The prevalence is between 20 to 40%, and out of the women who present with incontinence, that is urinary incontinence, 50% is due to stress urinary incontinence. The commonest risk factor is childbirth injury. The other risk factors are aging, hormonal changes, denervation of pelvic floor, and chronic increase in intra-abdominal pressure like obesity, COPD, etc. The association with pelvic organ prolapse is about 40%. That is, 40% of women with SUI have a significant cystocele. Occult SUI is the one where it is incompetence of sphincter is masked by the high stage anterior pelvic organ prolapse. So, to demonstrate this, we should reduce the prolapse and then examine for the presence of urinary leak. The continence mechanisms in female are mainly by three factors. That is, first is the external sphincter mechanism at the mid-urethral level and the pudendal nerve. The second is the urethral coaptation. Third is the urethral support structures like anterior vagina here and the pubourethral ligament here, and this is the arcus tendinous fascia pelvis. So these are the support structures. Once this gets damaged, mainly during childbearing, like see in the left side picture shows the disruption of the muscle fibers. So as the urethral supports become lax, the incontinence starts. The Hammock theory says firm posterior and lateral support allows the compression of urethra during intra-abdominal pressure increase. So once this support is lost, the possibility of stress incontinence develops. The the sphincteric dysfunction, that is the stress incontinence, is mainly caused by two factors in a nutshell. One is the urethral hypermobility, wherein the supports of urethra are defective, and the second is intrinsic sphincter deficiency. Why should you know this is because in the case of intrinsic sphincter deficiency, the presentation is different and the management is also different. Intrinsic sphincter deficiency occurs in elderly, those with previous surgery or radiotherapy, whereas hypermobility occurs in young parents and active women. And to diagnose ISD, you need a urodynamics where the ALPP is less than 60 and the maximum urethral closure pressure is less than 20. This requires autologous fascial sling or an artificial sphincter, whereas hypermobility can be corrected with TOT or such mid-urethral slings. Basic clinical evaluation includes a complete history taking, as is the type of the incontinence, whether it's a stress or urge or mixed or with chronic retention with overflow, and assess the severity, like with what kind of exertion they are developing incontinence, and any associated symptoms of prolapse, constipation, and how it affects the quality of life and their sexual activity. And during the external genitalia examination, we do something called Q-tip test and a Boney's test to assess for the leak and the severity. This is the Q-tip test. Here we can see the with Valsalva, the urethral displacement, if it is more than 30 degree, then it is positive. The second is Boney's test. This should be done in a comfortably full bladder. Place two fingers on either side of the urethra and pressure has to be exerted against the subpubic angle. If there is no leak, then Boney's test is positive. So this is how we test for the stress urinary incontinence. And also we should assess for the position of urethra, pelvic floor muscle tone also. And to completion sake, for in the basic clinical evaluation, we should also do an ultrasound KUB with a post-void residual urine, and also urinalysis to exclude any infection, also a uroflow if voiding dysfunction is suspected. When do we do urodynamics? We don't do it for all cases. That is, uncomplicated SUI does not need a UDS. When should we do a UDS is when there is mixed incontinence, when there is voiding difficulty associated or a previous failed surgery, and when there is suspicion of neurogenic component. This facilitates the diagnosis and also counseling the patient. So uncomplicated SUI occurs in this age group, that is 18 to 65. There is no urgency or voiding symptoms associated, and there is no associated prolapse beyond the introitus. This is the urodynamic stress incontinence where there is urine leak with increase in intra-abdominal pressure and in the absence of detrusor contraction. So this is how we diagnose. This management does not finish in one step. It has 1,000 miles that begins with one step. It's not a one-shot management. So the non-surgical and surgical options which are available, I'll be elaborating now. The conservative management starts with limiting fluid intake, preventative voiding, and limiting high impact activities, and the most important is pelvic floor muscle training. It is important that we should know how to teach the Kegels exercise to the patient. The patient first should be using the right muscles. They should be advised to stop the urination in midstream. That is how they identify the muscles, and they should start doing in the lying down position first, and focus should be maintained. That is, they should not flex the muscles of the abdomen or hold the breath and so on. And it should be repeated at least 3 times a day, 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions per day, and the duration is for about 3 months. The medical management is to the EAU guideline says that it is better to use duloxetine 40 mg twice daily, improves SUI in women. So this surgical management we can classify like this, that is, to restore the pressure transmission differential we use the retropubic suspension. Then the second is to provide backboard support, wherein we use sling procedures. Then the other modes of treatment are for cooptation of the outlet, bulking agents can be used, and finally to reposition and restore the sphincter, anterior colporrhaphy. The mid-urethral slings I'll be elaborating on. These are the most commonly used and more efficient ones, retropubic and the transobturator. This in this mid-urethral slings we use Prolene mesh, that is more than 75 micron size pores in the mid-urethral region, and it gets incorporated by fibrosis. That is how it works. There are some important anatomical aspects which we should remember. The retropubic sling starts with 2 superior incisions, that is in the suprapubic region, 2 centimeters from the midline. Why these should be maintained is that if we go too medially, that is 1.4 centimeters near the dorsal nerve of clitoris runs behind the pubis, and if we go more laterally, operator vessels and other vessels could be injured. That is why this landmark is maintained. And in the case of TOT, it is important to hug the bone while inserting the tape, because about 3 centimeters, approximately 2 to 3 centimeters above this safe zone is where the obturator vessels run. So hyperflexion of the hip enables to prevent this injury. So these are the variety of trocars and prosthetics which are available. As I said earlier, these are the sites for suprapubic incisions which are marked, and this is a small video. There is no conflict of interest. I am showing a video using the GynaCare TVT Exact.
Please refer to the exact continence system is
these are
comprised
the
of
components.
the
This is
trocar,
the trocar, GynaCare TVT trocar.
trocar
This is
handle,
the trocar handle.
trocar
This is the trocar
shaft,
shaft. And a
the
sheath
trocar
with
sheath,
the implants.
and
There is a
attached
mesh
Prolene
implants
polypropylene mesh implant,
which are attached.
and the GynaCare TVT
This is the
reusable rigid catheter guide. The rigid catheter guide is
This
not
is
included.
used mainly for turning
These
the
components
position
work
of the
together
bladder
to form
when
the
we
GynaCare
insert the
TVT
needle.
exact continence system.
The mesh. So this is how the unit is assembled.
Insert an 18 French Foley catheter. Let's begin. Insert an
So
18 French
initially
Foley
we
catheter
begin
and
with
leave it open to
catheterization.
drainage. Locate and mark the 2 suprapubic exit
And then
sites.
suprapubic
These should be
incisions
2
are
centimeters on
placed,
each side of the midline, immediately above the pubic
are
symphysis.
marked
They should be in contact with the dorsal
exactly
aspect
2
of the pubic bone
centimeters on
in
either
order
side
to
of the
avoid the
midline.
inferior epigastric vessels.
So
At the
anterior
level of the
vaginal
mid-urethra,
wall,
inject local anesthesia
about 1.5
submucosally.
centimeter proximal
This
to the
creates a space
meatus.
between the vaginal wall
We
and
should
the
start the
periurethral fascia.
incision, and this is the place where we start giving lignocaine with adrenaline
Now perform a retropubic
to enable
hydrodissection.
hydrodissection
This will open up the retropubic
and
space
to reach
and
the
minimize
pain
the risk of
faster.
bladder puncture during
Here
the passage
again,
of the trocars.
in the marked suprapubic
Start at the
region,
needle exit sites and
we
pass an
infiltrate
18-gauge spinal needle along the
diluted
back of the
lignocaine
pubic symphysis until the needle touches the
to enable
endopelvic fascia.
hydrodissection.
Back the needle
to
off the
enable
fascia
passage
roughly
of
1
the
to 2
mesh.
centimeters each
So
side.
after this, we come
Incision about 1.5
the
centimeters
anterovaginal
long,
wall,
starting
about
1 centimeter
1.5
cephalad
centimeter
from the urethra
proximally.
meatus.
We make an incision.
This incision will be positioned
and then
over the mid-urethra
this
and allow for
is
subsequent
the
passage of the
urethral
implant.
region. So that is why this 1.5 centimeter
Make
distance
2
is
small
set.
0.5 to
And
1
we have to
centimeter
create
periurethral
vaginal
lateral
flaps
dissections between the vaginal wall
like
and the
this.
periurethral
Sharp
fascia.
dissection should be
These
done
dissections
using
will
metal
accommodate the
bond
insertion
scissors.
of the trocar sheath tips. Drain the bladder through the catheter. Confirm that the bladder is
Foley
empty.
catheter guide is
Next,
now
insert the
inserted.
Gynecare TVT rigid catheter guide into the channel of the 18 French
And
Foley catheter. Push the tip of the
contrary to
Foley
the
catheter
direction where we
toward
are
the
inserting
posterior
the
lateral
trocar,
wall of the bladder,
the
opposite the intended passage
bladder
of the
can
trocar
be
sheath.
repositioned, that is, it can be moved
Now
to
prepare the
right or
Gynecare
left,
TVT exact device.
and then the
Secure the
assembled
trocar sheath
trocar
over the
shaft with
trocar
the
shaft
sheath
by hooking the
is
trocar sheath
inserted,
cutout
hugging
onto the
bone,
trocar
that is
sheath
the
lock,
pubic ramus,
which is located
and
on the
this has
trocar
to
handle.
come at the previously marked suprapubic sites. So this is the needle passage.
Begin the insertion by holding the trocar handle in your dominant
So
hand.
you can see in
Control the
photo
initial insertion
that
using the
catheter
non-dominant
guide is
hand
used to
by
move
placing
the
the
bladder
index finger
away
in
from
the
the
vagina
site of
under the
puncture
anterior vaginal wall,
by our
just
assistant.
lateral to the suburethral
And this
incision.
is how the trocar is inserted,
Orient the trocar
hugging
sheath
the
tip
pubic
horizontally in the
ramus,
frontal plane
and it is
during the initial
expected to
submucosal
come
passage in the periurethral
at the
dissected
previously marked
space,
suprapubic
staying in close
sites.
contact.
So
End of
like
dissection.
this,
For aiming,
it is done on either sides. And
clasp the exposed
after
trocar sheath tip and pull gently
pulling
upwards.
out the mesh on both the
Remove
sides,
the trocar sheath
before
by pushing it
tightening the
laterally
mesh,
off the trocar sheath lock. Carefully withdraw the trocar shaft catheter to displace the bladder to the
so before tightening the mesh,
trocar
it is
shaft
important
from
to
within
see
the
this
trocar
is how
sheath.
on both the
Remove
sides
the
it is
18
placed.
Gently pull the
Before
trocar sheath upward to
removing
bring the implant
the
loosely under the mid-urethra.
Sheath, it is important to do a check cystoscopy, and before tightening the mesh, we
Adjust
have
the
to place
implant to
an artery
desired tension.
forceps between the urethra and the mesh.
Cut the implant
so that it is
bilaterally,
not
close
too
to the
tight.
trocar sheath,
So
and
after
clamp the
check
implant sheath
cystoscopy
while being
shows there
careful
is
to
no
avoid
injury
clamping
in
the
bladder,
implant.
we can cut off the sheath, and then
Place a blunt instrument, such as scissors or forceps,
the tension
between the
is
urethra and
adjusted
the implant to
by
stabilize the
placing
implant during
an
implant sheath
instrument
removal.
between the urethra
Carefully
and the
remove the
mesh.
plastic sheath
So
surrounding
too
the
much
proline
tightening
mesh.
should not be done. At the end of the procedure, the mesh is cut flush
If
with
needed,
the skin.
and clip
So this
incisions.
completes the procedure.
This
and
concludes the Gynecare
anterovaginal
TVT
wall is
exact
closed where we
retropubic.
have done incision. So this is the next is the TOT, that is a transobturator tape. This is more anatomical because it mimics the subfacial hammock support of the urethra. This is a video showing the TOT steps. So as I said earlier, it is very important to hyperflex. And see, this is how the patient is positioned. Hyperflexion of hip is required, and the coccyx should be at the edge of the table. 2 points are marked at the genitocrural fold at the level of clitoris, not too lateral, not too medial. So this is the exit point or the entry point based on whether it is in out or out in. So same way, anterior vaginal wall flaps incision flaps are raised after incising, and this is the trocar sheath which is passed, hugging the bone. Sharp dissection is done to create this plane, and similarly trocar is passed and it is the exit is planned at the previously marked sites. So this is how it exits on both the sides. Transobturator tape can be either in out or out in. So this is how it is pulled on both the sides. It is done. So after repeating the procedure on either side, tension is adjusted and the skin is cut, the mesh is cut flush with the skin. So this completes the procedure. So the advantages of TOT are that there is a decreased risk of bowel injury, bladder injury, and there is no abdominal incision, and it's a more anatomical position. There are some complications which occur with this. Intraoperatively, bladder perforation, bleeding, urethral injury can occur, vaginal perforation can also occur. Postoperatively, thigh pain can occur in TOT and pubic pain can occur in TVT. Mesh extrusion, erosion, de novo urgency are the complications. Mainly, in a nutshell, TVT has more incidence of voiding dysfunction and bladder perforation. TOT, on the other hand, has more neurological symptoms. So the other options available are retropubic suspension, wherein the anterior vaginal wall is sutured with the iliopectineal line. Anterior vaginal wall and the paravesical tissues are sutured with the iliopectineal line. It can be done laparoscopically as well. 2 to 4 sutures are placed on both the sides. So the problem with this approach is that it can aggravate a posterior defect. So postoperatively the patient can develop prolapse and de novo storage LUTs can come, and it is not suitable for ISD. Women with both SUI and prolapse, we should counsel them preoperatively, because if we combine both, there can be additional added adverse effects. If we do not, on the other hand, patient can have SUI postoperatively. So proper counseling is required. The other option is pubovaginal sling. This is very useful in case the patient has intrinsic sphincter deficiency. And the two slings, autologous slings, which are best are rectus sheath, and the second is the fascia lata. The advantages are that it is very effective. There is success rate is around 80% and good cure rate compared with the retropubic suspension. But the problem with this is higher rates of voiding dysfunction. So in a nutshell, how to choose which surgery? If there is no IST, we can go ahead with Burch-Kolber suspension. If there is associated voiding dysfunction, TOT is better. In case of intrinsic sphincter deficiency, either an autologous sling or a retropubic tape can be done. So the other options like bulking agent and stem cell therapy, injections, all these are just to gain time, like, or in some elderly patients who are not fit for surgery, just to buy time, we can do this. They have short-term cure rates. The bulking agents available are Macroplastic, Durasphere and Cooptite. So thank you very much. This is our team. Thank you for the opportunity.
Now, in nutshell, what Dr. Soundarya has concluded is that the incontinence in young women, urge incontinence is more. You give bladder sedatives and some amount of stress incontinence can be treated with fluoxetine or duloxetine, fair enough, if the ultrasound and basic history is normal. Middle-aged men, ensure that the pelvic examination is normally done, and again treat medically first. If doubt, urodynamic study whether the bladder is over contracting or under contracting. Examination is very, very important. Whether the pelvic floor muscles are strengthy or not, any descent is there or not, should be taken. In old females, always keep a concern, because they may have prolapse, they may have cystocele, they may have rectocele, they might have undergone post hysterectomy status, they might have multipara, they may be multipara. So be careful in analyzing and don't go to the surgery directly. Assess the urge part, assess the stress part separately. Get the best evaluation before going to the surgery in terms of the physical examination, even urodynamic study if required, even cystoscopy if you required, proper examination and history. After that only go for slings or any other surgeries. So careful assessment pre-operatively is the most crucial factor in these cases for the outcome. Thank you for the opportunity.